Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fatu Network News Review. Today, 11th of February 2020. My name is Omar Wali and I'm here with my co-guest, Sergio Brito. The National Assembly member for Nyamina East will be here, Honorable Omar Sise, and 3 years Jotna also was back in court today. We'll get those stories, but before all that, we will start with the papers. And Sergio, what do you have today?
Interestingly, Omar, thanks for having me. So I will take a look at the Standard newspaper, and they've got quite some interesting headlines today. And one of them is how much does Semlex owes the Gambia Revenue Authority. And the ex-information minister, Honorable D.A. Jawo, says radio stations shut down by the government should sue over closures. The APRC also says that defectors to the United Democratic Party are not bona fide members. Those are some of the headlines, Omar, and we will now take a look at the stories in detail. Turns out Fode Gassama has expressed his dissatisfaction with the Supreme Court ruling declaring his nomination to replace Yakumba Jaite at the National Assembly as unconstitutional. He was quoted as saying, "I know I don't have the moral duty to question the Supreme Court's ruling, but I question the moral justification of the verdict. As far as I am concerned, for Gassama, the decision of the Supreme Court was not taken in good faith," he told the Standard newspaper. How much does Semlex owe the Gambia Revenue Authority? The Gambia Revenue Authority has shut down the canvassing office complex of Semlex for failing to pay tax since establishment in 2 years ago. The Belgian company and its Gambian subsidiary has been contracted by the Gambian government to produce the national identity cards and driver's license. Yankuba Dabo, the Commissioner General of the GRA, defended the closure at a press conference yesterday, arguing that paying tax is an obligation and that Semlex has pushed them to the wall. Whatever that means, Omar. And we will move to the next story, which is the ex-information minister tells radio owners to sue government over closures. Former information minister Honorable Demba Ali Jawo has recommended to the owners of King FM and Home Digital FM to sue the government over the closure of their radio stations. He was quoted as saying, "I think their rights have been violated as media houses in the country. So the only thing they can do through the Gambia Press Union is to take legal actions to regain their rights," Jawo told Teranga FM radio over the weekend. And another interesting story from the APRC saying that defectors to the United Democratic Party are not bona fide members. The deputy spokesperson of the APRC, Duduja, has rubbished claims by 2 recent defectors to the UDP of being key APRC members. On Saturday, the United Democratic Party unveiled Mr. Pa Ndura, a former APRC vice chairman of Serekunda Central, and Modu Conte, a former Sukuta Ward councillor, after joining the Yellow Camp, as Sabali will call it. But the APRC is claiming that since the party lost power following the 2016-2017 political impasse, the two have been a no-show, and that the party was not even aware of their existence. And finally, on the Standard newspaper, Omar, rapist thief loses appeal at Supreme Court. The Gambia Supreme Court yesterday dismissed the appeal of Lamin Jah, who was jailed for life for raping a woman in her home and for assault and robbery. The 5-panel judge presided over by Justice Hassan Jallo declared that it saw no compelling reason to reject the sentence imposed on Mr. Jah by the High Court, which was subsequently upheld by the Court of Appeal. That's all we have for you on the Standard newspaper, Omar.
Thank you so much, Sergio, for that. And I will look at the Point newspaper. The Point is also reporting that GRA closes Semlex despite government taxation. You may remember the company was shut down yesterday for non-payment of tax, but the company said they have been backed by the SIC, that is tax exemption, but the Gambia That's what Semlec said, but the Gambia Revenue Authority said they should pay tax. And the point is also reporting that Bibi Dabo outlines rationale for forming Gambia for All. The leader of the Gambia for All spoke in Brikama during a rally attended by hundreds of supporters on Saturday, marking the party's first ever rally since the IEC announcing its registration in January. Bakari Bunjadabu, who was addressing his supporters, said Gambia could now not rely on 7 political parties that formed the coalition as a tactic to defeat the longtime dictator Yahya Jammeh in 2016 election. He, however, stated that these political parties that formed the coalition all have hand in the bad governance. So Gambia for All has now realized that we cannot rely on those parties to help the Gambia. Well, that's the story we have on the point. They're almost similar. The point is also having similar stories, that the closing down of Semlex. But we understand that a couple of hours ago, the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority told the media that they have reopened the Semlex company. They produce ID cards and driving license in the country.
So they paid?
Yeah, that's what they paid. Okay. According to, they supposed to pay 500,000 and it has been settled. So that's the information we got from the Gambia Revenue Authority. So that's the story we have for you on the Point newspaper. So we'll look at the 3 years Jotna.
3 years Jotna, yes. Executive members of 3 years Jotna appeared in High Court today. The leaders of the banned movement are standing trial for various offenses in rioting, unlawful assembly, and demolishing of structures. Let's take a listen.
So the court has decided that they will make a decision on the bail application that was applied by both the Defense Council and the state. So the agreement is they agree based on law, and now we are waiting for the final decision. That the decision will come on Friday, whether they will grant them bail or they will reject the bail application.
3 years.
Let's go.
3 years. 3 years.
And it's 3 years we remain defiant under any condition we are taking it. We are happy with even the way the court is going. We are happy. Advance. But nobody is going to play with Gambians, yeah? We know our right and we will do things according to the law. We reported ourselves to the police, you know. So I mean we are not, you know,
we have every hope in the court and in the judicial system.
No surrender. No surrender.
Of course we have in cause. We have in hope because the court doesn't belong to Barrow, it doesn't belong to anybody. So we know that justice will prevail one day. So as soon as possible we are just more concentrated. We never worry and we have never been tortured there.
All the Gambian people.
3 years. 3 years. Our message to Barrow. 3 years. Our message to Barrow. 3 years. From here to 2021 we never care. We will fight up to the end.
On the 14th of February, the condition is horrible. They are taking care of themselves, but they still have hope.
3 years.
Up to 4 o'clock, Melorin Tilokora, and it is our right. We will see him but we don't have that access. So now I have a big disappointment in a security side. A big disappointment also. I will not talk to the president area, but I have a big disappointment. Thank you very much. Anyway, my brother, one thing I'm going to say is, well, you know, as I had the, you know, here right now said that the court has been adjourned until Friday. So, and but for now we cannot do nothing. We only have to comply with the law. Whatever the law said, we have to do that. But well, it's a strategy of trying to delay justice. But at the end of the day, I am telling you, we are coming to victorious at the end of the day. Yes, come Friday we come victorious. Yes, the government has no case against us. We are not fools. We know what is going on, and we are monitoring the situation. No disappointment, it's just a strategy of trying to frustrate people. I can say that, you know, but let them fight for more evidence. When the state can prove more evidence, let them do it. The state is still free. Let them do it. Hadn't been that they have enough evidence, they would have jailed these people. But they have no case against them. So let them do whatever they want. But at the end of the day, we are coming victorious. I am telling you that.
First time in the Gambia. Your favorite GSM operator, Africell, is the first and only GSM operator to launch a brand new technology called the eSIM. The eSIM simply means you can use your phone without a SIM card. Do you have an iPhone 11, any of the iPhone X series, a Google Pixel 3, or any new phone that supports the e-technology? Visit any Africell customer care center. Activate your eSIM today. With your virtual Africell SIM, you can use more than one number without having a physical SIM card in your phone. Enjoy this brand new technology for the first time in the Gambia, brought to you by Africell. eSIM, your phone without a SIM card. For more information, please call 111. Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back from that short break. The host seemed to have disappeared, but I am now here with Omar Cisse, Honorable National Assembly Member for Nyamina East. Welcome to the News Review, Omar Cisse.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, Sajo.
It's an honor. Now, I've seen a video of you where you decried the president's appointment of what you dubbed too many political advisors. What do you have issue with? Is it the number or the fact that they add no value to the presidency, otherwise incompetence?
Thank you very much, Sajo. That video you show on the social media was actually during the budget session. And the number of advisors, of course, I have problem with both the number and, of course, their competency. Because seeing number of advisors at the office of the president increasing every year, it does not actually tell well about the government. And it does not actually tell well about the government, the way and the manner in which they are utilizing the taxpayers' money. I expect the president, of course, if number of ministers are appointed to occupy different sector of the government, I expect those individual ministers to advise the government regarding their department or their domain. For instance, I expect the Attorney General to advise the president on legal matters, the Ministry of Youth and Sport to advise the president on youth aspect, and so on. But now having a number of advisors, a youth advisor, you have a political advisor, you have a legal advisor, then I may ask myself the question, what is the essence of having the minister of youth and sport, when actually I will expect the person responsible, that ministry, to advise the president on all youth activities or youth problems in this country, and not to have a number of advisors at that office. Now, my problem there is, in as much as we want to utilize the taxpayers' money into the productive sector of the economy, we must not allow the president to be appointing a number of advisors at that office. The problem there was because there was 4 advisors appointed during 2019. And in 2020, the president went ahead and additionally appoint another 2 advisors.
Which was rejected by the National Assembly.
Exactly. And I was happy that actually during the budget session, we were able to convince one another, because my position was very clear. In as much as you want to utilize the taxpayers' money well, then we must not accept, we must not approve their salary, allowances, and whatever immunity or whatever benefits that they might have into the national budget. So that is the more reason why we have to reject their salaries and allowances in that budget. We are not denying the president appointing a number of advisors out there, but the National Assembly will take their stand to see that the taxpayers' money is utilized to the proper way, and not anyhow to see anybody out there and appoint the person. I will expect the ministers to better advise the president at their domains and not to see number of advisors at that office.
So you have an issue with the number of advisors that we have. How many is too many to you? How many advisors do you think is too many?
Yeah, of course, even 4 advisors are actually many. Even the present 4 advisors that we have at that office are too much. I will expect, if these individuals are competent as expected, I will expect at least just 1 or 2 advisors to be there. And they will better advise the president on whatsoever. Other than that, I will expect these ministers that are appointed and being paid from the taxpayers' money to take full charge of their domain and better advise the president and whatsoever, and see that all those problems under their domains are remedied at the end of the day, but not to see a number of or multiple of advisors at that office. Just 2 to me is okay, but every year you want to increase a number of advisors because you want to satisfy individual. actually, me as a representative, I cannot just accept it.
From your statement, I picked up something. I'm going to quote you verbatim. I'm not sure if I will get the word straight, but you said you are tired of the president picking just anyone and everyone from the street and making them advisors.
Oh, of course, because today, if you are seeing the number of advisors that are there and the kind of advisors that we have at that office, obviously you will know that these people...
Who are those kind of advisors?
People like Dusano, for instance. Dusano, who is there being an advisor at that office. Tell me what actually can that individual do in that office?
Why? Are you beefing with Dusano because he said he can beat Mama Kande in Jimara?
No, when I was saying that, Dusano never raised this statement when I was actually raising this point at the National Assembly. The issue you are saying, that was just of recent. But actually, when I was making this statement and be firm on my statement, then this statement never come up. But what I am saying is, this number of advisors, some of them are not competent at all. If suppose they were advising the president correctly, all these issues and the catastrophe that we are experiencing in this country will have not happened. And we are seeing all these things every day in the Gambia, or every year in the Gambia, you see problem upon problem, saga upon saga. So I will ask myself the question, what will ask yourself the question, what are these people actually doing in this office? What actually are they advising the president? So these people, definitely, I cannot approve their salary in that office, seeing them occupying that office just because the president wants to satisfy them because they were supporting the president politically.
Since we are talking about the character of some of these political advisors, how does it feel when we see people like Sidinjai, who are not term advisors by the book, but we know behind the scenes they are steering the affairs of this country? Yeah,
Sidinjai, actually, this is a person that I don't actually want to talk about much because we know who Sidinjai is. He's an opportunist. And obviously today, if there is a change of government, Sidinjai will turn to that, will get into that government and forget about Barrow. So we have experienced that here when Yahya Jammeh insisted here that he will not leave office. It was Sidinjai who was all along backing the former president Yahya Jammeh to read that Yahya Jammeh would not leave office. The same person we are talking about, the same Sidinjai, after all those problems that we encountered during the impasse, he came and joined the present regime, indicating to them that he is fully supporting them, when at the earlier stage he was definitely against them at all means. So Sidinjai, actually, if he is the one, or if he is the person that the government or this country is expecting to advise the government, the president or whosoever at that level correctly, then I am not seeing the Gambia the way forward.
We obviously have a problem with the too many political advisors, like you call them. But recently, there has been rumors swirling that the ombudsman was nominated by the president, and it was rejected by the National Assembly. But it turns out that he is still working there. What has the National Assembly done about that?
Actually, the ombudsman, the president has the right to make appointment or nomination, I will call it, and the National Assembly, as an institution, will confirm that appointment. And this is what actually what was done. The president made the appointment or the nomination, I will call it, and the appointment was brought before the National Assembly for them to confirm. But the National Assembly, there is what you call a public appointment committee at the National Assembly. There's a committee, and the committee was given the task to better scrutinize whether we have to appoint finally the individual or not. But the committee reported before the plenary that this person actually, we cannot endorse his appointment. So from there, just recently I had rumors that the individual whose appointment was rejected is still occupying that office. So I asked myself the question, why the president is undermining the institution, the National Assembly. Of course, and it's a violation of the Constitution, because I was able to find out from the committee that is responsible for the office of the Ombudsman, that is the Committee on Local Government. And they were able to tell me that actually they were able to make investigation, and they realized that this actually, that is something which is happening at that level. And they taxed the National Assembly authority to write from that effect and indicate to PMO that his appointment will be revoked, shall be revoked, immediately, with immediate effects. And this was actually done. But as I'm speaking, the committee is also working tirelessly to see that things does not work as the president will. But we will work as the National Assembly indicated in Parliament, and not actually to see the person in that office when the National Assembly already rejected it. This is showing that the president is actually violating the Constitution, because the position of the National Assembly is very clear. The Vice President was the person who tabled the bill, the appointment, before Parliament, and the appointment was rejected when the Vice President was there. So why are they going ahead to see that individual in that office, occupying that office, and being paid monthly salary from the taxpayers' money?
Are we still seeing an issue of separation of power still? We just got out from the Yakumba issue.
If that is the case, of course, there is no separation of power in this case. Because we have just seen recently a nominated member who was dismissed by the president, and the issue was challenged before the High Court. And the High Court ruled that obviously the president has no power to revoke her nomination. Thereafter, we are seeing, after the National Assembly rejected the appointment of the ombudsman, still the president allowing the individual to be in that office doesn't actually tell well about the president. It's a violation of the Constitution. And the National Assembly cannot stand seeing all these things happening. We cannot.
Omar, let's get something, Honorable, sorry, let's get something straight. So you made that complaint to the National Assembly during the budget session, but you were one of the MPs who actually held a tie vote to pass the supplementary bill. So where is your priority here? Because if you are against the president on him appointing what you call too many political advisors, and yet you are voting to approve a bill that almost the entire country was against, where was that same energy, as people will call it, on the streets? Actually,
you will agree with me. People, of course, are listening, and that supplementary appropriation bill that was brought before the National Assembly. Of course, I endorse the bill to be passed. But it is not all sectors of the bill that I approve, actually. There are some technicalities.
It's important to make it clear.
And people must understand this. When the issue was raised, everyone was saying whatsoever not. But at the end of the day, when I clarify, it was in fact in the same place where I make this clarification, and people appreciated and congratulated me for voting for some of these areas that I voted for. Because there was a problem. And one of these problems was there were some security personnel that were actually dismissed by the former regime unlawfully. And there was a task force set up to investigate their termination. At the end of the day, the commission recommended to the government that their dismissal was unlawful. As a result, they were bring back to the system. Are you getting the point? So there I say, these people, they are in the system serving the interests of the Gambian people. So their salaries must be paid. You cannot be asking someone to be working for you day and night tirelessly, and at the end of the day, you don't want to pay the person. So I said, in as much as I am receiving my salary, taking care of my family, I also have to vote for them to access their salary and go and take care of their family. That is one. Two, agriculture sector also was another issue, because we have this problem with the fertilizer issue. And these people, the government normally subvent, because a bag of fertilizer is 750. That is what the government is giving it out to the farmers. But the rest, that is not actually the price of a bag of fertilizer. The government is subsidizing the rest. So it is that subsidy that I was actually complaining, because my people are farmers. And if they are giving a bag of rice to have it at that price, so the government is there to complete the payment. So obviously I said I must vote in for this one, because they have to give out the fertilizer to farmers to take care of their farming. That was another point. So the other issue was also about the Cuban doctors. The Cuban doctors, normally they visited the Gambia every year to help the government at the health sector. And these people also, there were some areas, because normally it is the Gambia government that would take responsibility of bringing these people and taking them back and take care of everything that it takes when they are here. So these people also, for them to come and help the government of the Gambia at the health sector, I said health is very key and important to me. So as a result, I will also endorse for these people to come and help the government at the health sector so that we will have a proper healthcare system. That is why I voted for some of these areas. But it's not actually, I voted the bill entirely. That is not the case.
It's good that we clarify that. I understand that you people will be going for a by-election very soon, since we lost the National Assembly member for Nyamina West. Do you think there's a possibility of the GDC winning again?
You see, if you are bringing up this possibility, maybe, or whatever term, actually it means we are not very sure about the issue. Nyamina is a GDC base, and I have to say this very clearly for the whole world to hear it. Nyamina is Nyamina West, and even Nyamina Dankunku is a GDC base. And the people of Nyamina are settled already to see that GDC secure that seat. Because it's our seat. It's just about replacement. Because the seat there, whether the NPP, the recent NPP, the so-called NPP that the president established not long ago, cannot secure the seat, and I will say that very clearly for the president to understand. Just imagine, let's take it this way. If the president cannot win single election from his own area, how is it that the president can win a place that is already secured by another political party? For instance, the president that we are having, Mr. Adama Barrow, was won during a parliamentary election in 2002 with Honorable Mama Kande. The same president in the same place, President Adama Barrow, was also won during the presidential election when he was the presidential candidate. With all the coalition members and supporters, he was also won by the GDC party. The same president in the same place, his own area, the president was also won during the recent parliamentary election 2017 in the same place. The same president in the same place was also won during the council election in his own area. So tell me, are you convinced definitely that the president can win any other place if the president cannot even convince his own people to vote for him? There is no way. So whether the president will contest or have a candidate in Nyamina West or not, GDC will secure that place. It's just a matter of replacement. This is what I would say.
Okay. Well, we will leave that to the voters to decide. So let's see how that turns out for the GDC and the MPP. You call them so-called. Wow, that's cold.
Of course.
That's cold.
It's a so-called, of course, because I didn't have anything from them since their establishment. So nothing after. Tell me what they have done since their establishment. Tell me what actually they have done. There is no single borehole that they dug. There is no single road that they construct.
Why is the GDC so obsessed with?
No.
Do you guys have a borehole machine or something?
Of course we do have. Of course we do have. You see, I am very concerned with this. Being the president, being the opposition, being whatsoever party, our focus and interest here is to develop the country. And if you are developing the country, you must target the need of the Gambian people. And my people out there, there is no drinking water. A large number of them cannot even have a safe or clean drinking water. Even the water that we use to flush our toilets are even better than the water that they are drinking. So, seeing the GDC putting borehole or establishing borehole or having that project all over the country, so definitely, if you cannot applaud the GDC for that, you have nothing to say. When the people out there, my people out there, are paying their tax to the government, so it is the duty and the responsibility of the government, 60% of the tax that they are paying, to be plowed back to the people out there. In a form of what? In a form of road. In a form of what? In a form of water, clean water. In a form of what? Good health care system. In a form of what? Good education system. So the tax that we are paying is actually given to the government. So it is the duty of the government to plow back the tax. But if the GDC is taking the responsibility to ensure that these people are at least helped, kind of, somehow, so people should applaud the GDC. If they cannot actually, they have nothing to say to the GDC.
That's right. Another thing, are we seeing any alliance in the future between the GDC and the UDP? There seems to be a lot of rumors.
Well, the rumor is going on all over, and people are talking about it all over. But let me make this very clear. You see, the GDC is a party of peace. GDC is a party that is not there to insult anybody. GDC is a party that is not there to undermine, underrate, or belittle any political party. Because all political parties that are instituted or that are established in this country are constituted by the same people, our same brothers and sisters in this country. So why do I have to insult you because you are supporting UDP? Why do I have to offend you politically when actually it is your intention to support President Barrow? Obviously, this is something that the GDC in any way is not willing to do. Now tell me, the tax that my people are paying are not given to the UDP. The water that my people are demanding is not with the UDP. The road that my people needed is not with the UDP. So obviously, they can only claim this from the government. And the UDP is no more in the government. The GDC have been saying this. Since UDP was in government, then GDC have been saying this. Now, UDP is no more in power. So do I have to fight the same opposition people fighting one another when actually you have nothing for me? I have to fight you because you are an opposition. The borehole that I need is not with you. The seat that I needed is not with you. The taxes that I am paying is not with you. Why do I have to waste my time struggling with you? The person in charge, that is the government, the President Barrow and his members, are the people that I should actually question. Those are the people that I should actually challenge to provide some of this thing for me. But the GDC, we are not in election. UDP found us saying all these things, and they joined us in the same, because we have been talking about it, the development of this country. We have been talking about it. How are you going to utilize the taxpayers' money better? The GDC have been actually saying about it. Now that UDP is no more in power, they join us in the same. What do we have to say? Do we have to stop them from saying that? Because they found us saying it. So now the point is, in as much as we are not in the election period, GDC cannot tell whether we are to align with UDP, whether we are to align with President Barrow, whether we are to align with APRC. But when the need be, when it is time for us to align, we will better decide and define the way and the manner in which we are going to align with any political party.
So this is why some people say that the GDC has now become the new darling of the UDP.
Of course, this is what the people are saying, but that is not actually the point. Because you hate the UDP, and the GDC is actually criticizing the government. The UDP is also alongside criticizing the government. That does not make the GDC being the darling of UDP. Because they found us saying some of these things in this country when they were actually in government. So now that they are out, they found us saying this and they join us in the saying. That does not make us, in fact, people are mistaken to say we are their darling because they found us saying it. They should have said they are our darling. They are mistaken in this saying.
So it's like the other way around.
It's the other way around, of course.
Now let's get back to Dusano, because it seems like he has launched like really fresh attacks towards the GDC. He said that even him alone, excluding President Barrow, can win Mama Kandeh in Jimara. What is your response to that?
You see, earlier I said to you very clearly that the president and his entire team and his supporters, whosoever that is interested to join the president, to campaign for him in Jimara, whatever that they can do within their powers, they cannot win that area. It's a no-go area for President Barrow and his members. Because I have already given you the sample. Dusano, I told you, the man is not competent at all. If these are the kind of advisors that we are having in government, then we are beginning to fail. And in fact, we have started failing. Dusano is a person who lacks that experience. Dusano is the person who lacks that know-how. Dusano is a person who lacks that technicality. It's a person who has no knowledge regarding that office he is occupying. So how is it that that individual who cannot even convince his own villagers to vote for President Barrow, how is it that that individual can contest with another party in another area? Because I told you very recently, the councillor that won in that area, in his own village, the councillor is from his own village, won the election, the council election, and is from the GDC. Where was Dusano when that individual was campaigning and winning that position? Where was Dusano during the presidential election when Mama Kande was winning that position, that place, Jimara? Where was Dusano when actually there was campaign for parliamentary election? Where was Dusano? So Dusano cannot even convince his own villagers. Dusano cannot convince his own people. How is it that Dusano can convince you and I to vote or join President Barrow? There is no way. So if Dusano is saying this, he is saying it just to satisfy President Barrow. Because in any way, Dusano is not capable to handle that position. And these are the only ways that he can say to impress the president so that he can be kept there. Today, I will tell you, if suppose Dusano is tasked to go and campaign for that area between President Barrow and GDC, for him to be appointed to occupy that position he is handling now, then it will be in the other way around. He will not occupy the position again because he is going to lose the election.
And finally, before we go, Omar, what can we look forward to 2021 as far as GDC is concerned?
Well, GDC, you see, whether we are in the period of election, campaign, whatever, in as much as politics is concerned, GDC is doing what is expected. Because our slogan is very clear. That is, the wish of the Gambian people is our wish. The mind of the people is our intention. The voice of the helpless is our area. And this actually the GDC is focusing to do. Whether, because after the presidential campaign, after the parliamentary election, after the council election, mayoral and chairman, of course, the GDC continue to do whatsoever that is needed by the Gambian people. And this is what actually we are doing. GDC, after presidential election, we continue doing our development and lobbying projects, implementing them all over the country. After the parliamentary campaign, we did not give up. We continue doing what is needed by the Gambian people. After the councillor, mayoral, and chairmanship election, we continue lobbying and implementing projects all over this country. So I was expecting, if other political parties were doing the same, today we will have see a different Gambia. Today we will have see a person who is out there suffering, enjoying his or her life. But this is not actually the case. So GDC is a party that actually changes the whole system of politics in this country. You can say one thing, you don't like GDC, no one can dispute that, but you cannot say GDC doesn't have the interest of the country. After seeing the GDC implementing projects all over the country, this no one can dispute. It is your right. You have the right not to join the GDC, but you cannot say the GDC is not actually implementing projects all over. So here we are. We continue doing what is expected. And we are politicking, our members are with us, and people are joining us every day. In fact, just over the weekend, we'll be having rally. So that will tell you that the GDC will continue doing what is expected towards the 2021 election. And 2020 election, if you want to be the Minister of Women Affairs, be ready and join the GDC, because we are going to the State House and we will occupy the State House. The only barrier now is the election. But
so that's the only thing stopping you from...
Obviously. This one I can tell you, and I want the whole world to hear this. GDC will either become the government or will form part of the government, which is very certain. There is no dispute about it. And 2021 will tell. We will either be the head of the next government or we will form part of the next government, which is very certain.
What does form part mean? Does that mean an alliance?
Of course, seeing the political field in this country or the political structure in this country now, it is very evident that it might be so intricate and controversial for one political party to win election.
A lot of people have been saying that actually.
Good.
Do you think
So I also have the belief, analyzing the way politics or the dynamic in which politics is moving, it might be very intricate and controversial.
Why is that? Do you think because there's a saturation of
not actually, the Gambia is very small, a population of less than 2 million.
It's just too many people registering.
Good, and you have so many people, so many political parties coming up. So if all those people are with their candidates, it might be so difficult for one person to win because of the 51 plus.
There's going to be a split in votes.
Exactly, because there will be 51 plus. Do you understand? Second round of voting, and that will make it more difficult. So as a result of that, we must coalesce with other political parties. But at the moment, we cannot tell who are actually these political parties. But you will either come first, second, or third. But at most, first or second, which is very certain.
Thank you very much, there, Honorable Omar Cisse, National Assembly member for Nyamina West. Yes. Nyamina West, sorry, East, okay, rather. So I guess this now brings us to the end of this edition of the Fatu Network News Review. Do join the host that disappeared tomorrow, hopefully, and have a good day, and bye for now.